It's that time for our guest tonight, Charlton from Franklin Guitar Straps. Well, actually, Charlton, what is it? Franklin what?
So it's actually we have the sort of overarching business. We go by Tonal Music,
Okay.
and then under that we own a few accessories brands and one guitar brand, actually. So it's Franklin Strap is our strap brand. As you know, the glider Capo is our little Capo.
That's what we're going to talk about that today or tonight.
Yeah, man, and then we also we do some retail of manufacturer refurbished guitars.
Oh, cool.
Gretsch and Eastman and Epiphone, a bunch of really cool brands, and then Ethan Hart Guitars is our little metal boutique brand.
Cool. Now I want to talk about this glider cable. That's why I called you. And first of all, I've seen it, and okay, a big glider cable, whatever that is. And I'm a capo man. I use a capo when I play, and I think they're a big pain in the butt sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, one of my buddies goes to me, "Hey, did you see that glider cable? That looks really cool." And I said, "Yeah, it's probably just like the rest of them." He goes, "From what I hear, it's really cool." So then we talked. I gave you a call. I talked to you, and I've got one sitting in my hand, and I got to say something. All these years we've been doing reviews for gear. We get people sending us stuff from everywhere, and if it's no good, I got to be honest. I put it back in the box, I tape it up, and I send for an RA number. That's a return authorization. I won't say anything bad about it, but once in a while, you get a piece of gear that just goes crazy. And I'm telling you, what I'm holding in my hand blew my mind. When I got the thing, you sent me a cool card. It said, "Thanks, Peter. Thanks for choosing glider cable." Capo. And I'm sitting there going, "Yeah, well, we'll see." Okay. So I put the thing on the guitar from Bingo. First of all, it goes on easy as heck. And then all of a sudden, I find out the thing actually works just like the video. And it's unbelievable. And when you don't want to use it, you just put it up where the nut is. And it's out of your way. And it doesn't cause any damage of any way or whatever. And when you need to use it, you actually just glide the thing back onto the frets. And number one, what I found out with a lot of capos, I don't like is sometimes when you put a capo on, it frets it weird and it's out of tune. And,
sure.
And I'm an old curmudgeon, and I need the thing in tune. I'm the guy that in rehearsal, if I'm playing with some new guys and the guy doesn't take the time to tune really well, it kind of, I'm old enough that it kind of just bothers the heck out of me. When I'm in the studio, you got to be in tune. That's all there is to it, or I don't have time for that. This thing is amazing. It's in tune. You can put it all the way up and down the neck, and it's as long as your guitar is intonated to itself.
Yes, exactly.
It's perfect. I mean perfect. Now,
well, that's the key is the intonation. It's all physics. Provided you're intonated, it's applying equal pressure across the face of the radius, and then the rollers are curved to sort of the universal radius. Those old 60s strats are like baseball bats, so that's a little bit harder.
But it works on all my strats. It worked out in the studio. So
well, there you go.
Yeah. And I use Takamine EF341Cs. I don't know why I use them. One of my buddies had one, and I bought it years ago, and now, I've got a slew of them that I use live and in the studio. I just love them. And you put it on one of those, and forget it. It's just like playing with a capo in heaven. Now, I want to know, where did this idea, who came up with this stuff?
Well, it's actually a lengthy story.
Go ahead.
Sure. And it's also as any unique idea, over time, it's with technology increases and just feedback from customers and everything. There comes a sort of evolution in the product. So over the years, it's actually been fine tuned, and we actually started adding a couple of neat little tricks that I can't say too much about that you could figure out if you took the whole thing apart. But even this year, I've gotten it slicker than usual. But the proprietary rubber blend is a lot of people don't think about it. It's not just rubber. Rubber is a synthetic material; it doesn't grow on trees, literally. So the blend of the chemical balance of it has been perfected over the years to interact with finish and frets, and things like that to be. I like to call it the healthiest capo on the market for frets and finish.
Now, I guarantee it's made in the United States.
Yeah, everything is handmade here in Franklin, Tennessee.
Yeah.
All of the parts, we work with, and I don't mind going into the weeds with this because I'm sure a lot of your audience are gear nerds. So,
absolutely.
Understanding the distribution and supply chain of this is interesting. But even all of the materials, whether it be our molding, same factories we've used for almost 30 years now. It's the springs are in Ooltewah. They're made in Ooltewah, Tennessee, which is Chattanooga. We've Richmond. Kentucky is where our our hardware, a lot of it is molded out and rounded. We've a company in Joliet, Illinois makes our rubber molds, and all the same relationships that we've had for decades. And then it's all custom shapes and custom things, and then we have the parts brought here, and then my team assembles it, oils it, lubricates it, and all the packages and all of that. But everything designed, even the parts are manufactured here, which is rare. A lot of companies say, well, we're made in the USA, but then all the parts they buy are imported in.
Exactly, yeah.
Thankfully, that's not the case here. We're able to make a very well done instrument and then hand assemble it ourselves here. But to go back, not to go too far there, but to go back, so the story of origin here is very interesting. Cornette Swaney is, it was a patent that was created in 1986. You can Google it. The Cornette Swaney patent is literally a patent for a rolling capo. As most of you know, patents don't really last as long as they should. And so the Cornette Swaney patent was patented as a rolling capo in partnership with my late mentor and our founder, Greg Bennett, which some of you may know from Greg Bennett Guitars, but that was sort of his front-facing career notoriety, I suppose. But in the gear industry,
did Greg pass?
Yeah, so he passed very suddenly just over a year ago from pancreatic cancer.
Now here's the thing. He would have been at the NAMM show in L.A.
So this is so very interesting you say that. This was January of 2020. So keep the timeline in mind.
Yeah.
In terms of everything that's happened in the world.
Yeah, but he's been out there 10 years, 15 years ago.
Oh, he was the president of Guitar Center in the 90s.
I think I might have met him.
He ran Washburn, he ran Takamine, he was the marketing director of Gibson. He was 69 years old when he passed. And
he was a young guy.
And he's had, yes, absolutely. And he's also had, in my career, in terms of observing, he's had the most impressive resume in the gear business of anyone I've ever met.
I think I've met him at the old NAMM shows.
Oh, I'm certain you have. But in January, it's a ritual he drives our booth out to Anaheim from Nashville. It's a ritual for 40 plus years now, and he stops off at we have 2,000 dealerships nationwide that stock Franklin straps. So and on top of that, he's been doing he created Prairie State Strings, and he put LR Bags pickups on the map. And
really,
he's got so many credentials under his belt that unbelievable. If it wasn't for him, there probably wouldn't be any cutaway acoustics.
Wow.
Believe it or not. And I can go into that. But let me, just to go back to the origin of the Capo. Well, actually, let me say about Greg. January 2020, he was driving out to Anaheim, and by the time he got to Scottsdale, he was put in the ER, and we missed the show that year. He suffered from diverticulitis for 20 years, and we assumed it was that because it was abdomen pain. And then COVID hit, and then he didn't want to go to the hospital, so he was just taking his diverticulitis meds. And then, by the time June rolled around, Nashville was opening up a little bit more. He went into the hospital, diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. They gave him 6 months to live, and he was gone in 4 weeks.
That's amazing.
It was a shocking tale. But just to go back to the glider here. So he partnered in the late 80s with a couple other gentlemen, the original, and as a team, invented this device that they patented and trademarked glider Capo, copyrighted glider Capo. Thankfully, the trademark and copyright can move on every time you pay the dues. Mm-hmm. But, after the patent ran out, you can find it now. It's the slider Capo and rolling. I'm in perpetual court with plastic counterfeit $5 slider Capos.
Yeah, but let me tell you, when you hold this, I got it in my hand right now. There's one thing that is just right straight out. This thing is class all the way. I mean, major class. It's
heavy duty. Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's and that's the problem with selling it, is that it's a bit clunky. And in the stores, if it's just hanging there next to a Kaiser clamp, no one really knows what it does. It really does take explanation. And we started filming videos for YouTube. One on you. We got a 2-3 videos running on Facebook ads that have 10 million views each. And totally turned around. We sort of modernized the language about the glider by showing video, and then it's really the only way to get it out there. Is the gentleman that was Greg Bennett in most of our videos still.
Oh, okay.
We've modernized it a little bit. We've got some new videos we just released. We've got some coming down the pike, but to put a ribbon on that, so late 80s. Patent ran out. He bought the other two gentlemen out because Greg was always the sales guy. The other guys were designers and players, and wasn't really interested in growing sales of the glider. So eventually Greg sort of modernized the design, replaced the springs, made it a little sleeker, made the rubber blend better. Over years, that's gotten better and better and better and better.
I love the springs. The springs, they're perfect. I mean, it's got the right tension and everything, and you don't have to worry about how long they're going to last. This thing looks, like I said, totally class all the way. Plus, it looks like it's a great piece of gear just looking at it and when you feel it. And then when you put it on the guitar, it's like, man, that's...
Well, that's right. And I've had mine. I've had the same glider Capo for 10 years.
10 years, huh?
Yeah, 10 years. So a $30 piece, and I've been able to use it for. And I run a studio too, sort of as my a side gig. I own a publishing company as well that works on sync placements, and so I'm whipping a Capo out in the studio all the time just to get those sharp diamond chords and as you say, tuning is everything in that environment.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I can remember the old days, when I started taking guitar serious in the 70s. I got the tuning bug. You got to be in tune. I mean, I think I was the only one in the band when we were on the road that had a damn tuner. I'm serious. Everybody else used to say, come on, let's hear that A off the keyboard. And I'd have a tuner. And, and nowadays, you got to be in tune. And when you use this Capo, it's boom. You don't have to worry about it because I've got Capos that, when you put them on, It does something to the strings, mushes them a little to the left or right, and the thing's a little bit out of tune, and it drives me crazy.
Well, it's physics. Let me just explain it. You know, the clamps are a single spring design, and when you have a single spring design, you are inherently going to have a sort of lopsided tension distribution, and some companies try to, the nicer clamp style capos, the G7s of the world, and stuff like that. They try to, they try to overcompensate with that problem by the pad. With the pad, which is fine, but you're still not gonna. You leave too much variation with string gauge and action, which is totally subjective, and no way to know how what the end user is. You're using nines, you're using tens. Action, are you Stevie Ray Vaughning it, or is it on the fret wire? Is it? There's no way to know, and the only way you can really do it is design a product that fits the vast majority, especially when you don't have 30 models and colors. It's we have one thing that comes in one color, and we make thousands of them a year, and you get the same thing every time.
I have taken this capo. We have a studio here, Rock and Roll Ranch Studios, and I have probably to utilize without opening cases, probably about 15 guitars, and I've used it on every single one. That didn't have a problem on one guitar.
Is that right? Wow, that's fantastic.
You could come over anytime since you're close to the ranch over here. It's no problem. You just put it on the guitar and it works right away. There's no hassles. There's no tuning, and unless you want to check it. But I'm telling you, there's 15 guitars here that I use all the time for different stuff and everything. And I have used it I made it a point before we did this interview that I would use it and know what I'm talking about. This capo is crazy. I mean, it's a hassle-free capo that works perfect. And
another thing I'll say about the spring, which is interesting because you brought that up a minute ago. The springs. Over time, you'll notice if you use it if you have a glider on pretty much the same guitar most of the time, which I would say the bulk of our customers might just use it on one or two guitars, and over time the springs sort of settle in like a pair of shoes to the depth of the neck, which I thought was very, very interesting. The first day you put it on, you might think, well, it's a little tight. And then a couple days into it, you're thinking, well, hey, man, it's a little slicker now. And that was something I sort of found out with my own use. It wasn't necessarily designed to do that.
It just happened.
It just sort of it's one of those happy accidents, as you know, as a studio guy. Happy accidents are the gateway to innovation.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Certainly. But yeah, Greg did a wonderful job over the years. I started working under him as an apprentice 15 years ago. He showed me the ropes. He put me on the road. I've been in 6,000 guitar stores in North America.
Cool.
Unfortunately, I owe him my life, and I was a very loyal and dedicated student. And when we lost him, I was able to pull some resources and purchase the business from him. And so now, long story short, we just had the best year the company has ever had.
That's great. I was looking through, I have a strap collection, and I was looking through my collection. I'm real anal when it comes to straps. They got to be a certain thing so I'm comfortable on stage, comfortable in the studio. And I ran across, I think we got 4 or 5 Franklin straps. And,
is that right?
Yeah, because, when you're on the road, the first thing you do in the old days, in the 70s and 80s, the first thing you did was go to the pawn shops and the music stores. And when you find something really cool, I would buy it. And I think we got 4 or 5 straps in here that are Franklin straps. And I think that's so cool.
Well, it's been going on. I think so Franklin is a little newer than Glider. Glider has been around, like I said, since technically '86, but we weren't really loud about it until the sort of internet retail age, the modern internet retail age, because before it was just in stores, and it might have gotten some exposure in certain markets, but it wasn't sort of an internet exposure sort of thing where anyone in the world can find it. So when we started advertising the video, then it got out there for the first time, and all of a sudden I'm getting awards for like best new product for a product that's been around since the 80s, ironically.
Yeah. Well, finally
Franklin was created in 98, so it's a little newer than Glider. But yeah, we have turned into America's sort of go-to American-made guitar strap.
Oh, they're great.
Thank God.
The leather is just beautiful, the whole 9 yards. We'll get into that in a different show. We got a couple of minutes. I want to talk about where they can get in touch with you and go see those videos, and how do they get one of these capos?
Yes, absolutely. So, like I said, the mother company is Tonal Music Inc. That's Tonal Music Inc. And we own Glider Capo, Franklin Strap, Ethan Hart Guitars, and then we are wonderful, thankful retailers for manufactured refurbished string instruments. So you can go to Tonal Music Inc. YouTube channel. You can just Google Tonal Music Inc. or glidercapo.com will take you right to our website, and then you'll end up checking out on franklinstrap.com because all the e-commerce is sort of in one place. But yeah, check us out. All it takes is a quick Google search of Glider Capo and Franklin Strap, and you can find pretty much everything we're doing at franklinstrap.com and at glidercapo.com. Follow us on Facebook at /Franklin Strap. Instagram as well, and like I said, YouTube. And we certainly appreciate it. You can actually call my office anytime. We pride ourselves on not being a faceless manufacturer.
That's
so
cool.
You can email me Charlton, CHARLTON at franklinstrap.com and talk gear with me, and I'd enjoy it.
That's cool. Charlton, I want to thank you for coming on the show, and we will talk to you soon. We'll have to do another show and talk about straps, because those straps are killer.
I'd love to. Absolutely. I really appreciate you having me on, and man, thank you so much for the support, and I'm glad our little glider could
it's the best.
Help you out over there.
It's the best. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.